I think that I had a different outlook on the whole idea of having to go through everything after I got the diagnosis than most people have. I think most young people, when they hear those words, you have cancer, breast cancer, and that the thought of losing their breast makes them, it's devastating for them. Devastating because they think it's going to take away from, feeling like a woman. And I think for me, when I heard those words, I was just like, I want to be as aggressive as possible because I wanted to be here for the girls. So it was like a no-brainer to say, yes, I want a bilateral mastectomy. That's where they take both of your breasts. I needed to do chemo because of the staging of my tumor, but I was almost like, I don't even care if you tell me that I don't need chemo, I want chemo too. So I know that I'm going to be here for the girls growing up. I got through the chemo definitely with the support of family and friends, but just with the mental outlook that I had from the get-go, saying, I want to be as aggressive as possible. The reason that I had the outlook I had from the very beginning was because I lost my mom to breast cancer. She was originally diagnosed in 1996. I was 20 years old when she was originally diagnosed, and then her tumor came back again in December of 1998, and she ended up dying in October of 2000, right? 2000. And she was 63 when she died, and she died a week before I turned 25. She ended up with metastatic disease, so it went to her bones and went to basically all of her internal organs. So, she was in a lot of pain at the end, and I watched her take her last breath. So I think it was difficult for my sisters to see me have to go through it after watching our mom pass from it, and I'm the youngest. I think it's really hard when you lose your mom when you're 20, almost 25 years old, because you still have all of those moments in the future. She didn't see me graduate from cytology school. She didn't see me get married. She wasn't there when I had my girls, and I'm fortunate enough to have 3 sisters who are absolutely wonderful, and I can go to them and ask them questions and have them help me over the years with parenting questions and stuff. But that's a really difficult thing, to not have your mother to be able to help you and answer questions that you have, because there's no book on parenting. It's a difficult job, a really hard job, and to not have her there for that guidance was tough. And I think that's the one thing about the future that bothers me the most is, I plan on, if it comes back, I plan on fighting. Obviously, I'll do whatever I have to do, but the thought of not being there for the girls for any of their moments, and the thought that I was 39, I mean, the statistics, if you develop breast cancer before the age of 40, the statistics are much higher that you're going to have a recurrence. The younger you are, the higher the rate is that you're going to have a recurrence. And the girls were so young. I mean, Molly was 6 and Eloise was 10 when I was diagnosed. And, the thought of that, if it comes back, they're just so young. So that is something that bothers me, because I want to be here for everything, for all of their moments and their graduations and their proms and all of that, and grandkids, and and so that's tough. When you're going through it yourself, I don't know, I feel like other people look at you and they they're like, they you can tell the look on their face. They're almost like in tears looking at you, going through it. Or if they, the first time someone would see me bald. And for me, I felt like I had all the strength in the world. I really did. I felt like I was the strongest going through that whole thing than I had been at any other point in my entire life. I wouldn't say I have like these, grandiose ideas of like there's like a major trip I want to take and make sure I do this. I just think it's like an everyday process for me, where you genuinely appreciate like the simple everyday pleasures in life. Like I genuinely appreciate the time I have with my girls right now. Like the way they're growing up right now. Just to hear Molly giggle, or watch Eloise or bring home like an amazing report card, or do awesome at her swim meet, or just watch them do a dance routine together in the living room, or watch a movie with them on the couch, or just have dinner with them. Like all of those little things that you're like, yeah, that's everyday life. That's like not a big deal. I feel like you go through this and all of a sudden you realize like, no, it's all the little moments that are a huge deal. And the fact that you get to be there to see them is a big deal. And I know I'm appreciating being a mother to them more now than before, when you would, let stressful, like things that weren't really stressful, but just things that you in your mind you think are stressful get to you and make you irritated or whatever. I feel like I let a lot of that stuff go now. Not that I'm perfect. We still have our moments. But so I guess that's it. I really don't have like a bucket list. I guess if I could ever truly have an impact and have regulations change so that women are followed closely at an earlier age when they do have a parent that was postmenopausal at the time of diagnosis, I think that would be huge. I mean, that's a bucket list. That's like that would be wonderful. I found empowerment in I knew I was going to lose my hair from the chemo, and instead of trying to hold on to it and just waiting for that day when I woke up and it was on the pillow, or I ended up going and getting my head shaved prior. I got a really short buzz cut prior to my second dose of chemo, and that was empowering. Like, I think that if anybody has the guts, you should do it. I think everybody should shave their head once in their lives. I really do, because it was just so empowering, and I felt so strong and good and beautiful. I felt beautiful. I felt more beautiful going through the chemo than I had ever before in my life. I did. I really did. More so than now. I don't feel beautiful. That's another thing, the postmenopausal thing, another side effect of that is obviously, in the medication that I have to take, is, weight gain and slower metabolism. So it's, it's not good to not feel good about yourself.
Well, what I know is that many women have died from it, and it's just something that people should be aware about. Okay, well, my great-grandma has had it and she has survived from it, so we're lucky for that. Not exactly. I don't
know much about breast cancer, I guess. Not anyone in my family has had it. I've only had one teacher had it before, and I know that it came back, and then eventually she did die, but I don't really know much about it. No, I do not do self-examinations. Actually, like, I don't really know what to look for. Like, I guess I do, but like if I ever have like a pain that like in my chest, I'll like, feel around, but like I don't know what to look for. So, and I don't occasionally do it, so I don't know if anything's changing. So I guess no and yes.
I don't really know that much about breast cancer, to be honest. I actually think so on my mom's side. I'm not completely sure, but I'm pretty sure. I think so, yeah. No, I do not.
Do you know how?
No.
I would definitely say, like, the one bit of advice I gave to everybody so far is get to know your breasts and get to know every lump and bump in your breast, because people's breasts naturally are just, lumpy and bumpy sometimes, but get to know everyone. And if you feel anything at all, don't blow it off. Definitely follow up. And if you are 40, don't be afraid to have your mammogram. Trust me, it's not that big of a deal. It takes, a few minutes of your time, but it can totally save your life. And don't think that it can never happen to you, or it's not going to happen to you, because I've become very close with young women who had absolutely no family history of breast cancer at all, and they developed breast cancer. So, make sure you go for your mammogram. Make sure that you do. I'm not saying you have to have a set date on the calendar for every single month, and this is the day I'm going to do it. But when you're in the shower, whatever, just get to know your body, and if you have anything that doesn't feel right to you, even if it's just a gut feeling, you need to go and get it checked out, because it totally could save your life.